Welcome back to another Carl's Q&A. Today we are going to be answering questions about our brand new high contrast gray impact screen. So our first question we have is, what are the benefits of using a gray screen versus a white screen? Well, the biggest benefit is going to be using a gray screen if you are in an area that has a little more ambient light. The gray screen is going to help combat some of that ambient light and get a little more pop to the image, help to keep it from getting so washed out. Whereas with a white screen, you really want to try to get that in a really light controlled area and try to keep the space as dark as possible. So our next question is, how does the gray screen affect my projector image? So in those areas with ambient light, the gray screen is really going to help those colors pop. And with more ambient light hitting a white screen, it makes it more difficult to really get those deep blacks. Whereas with the gray material, you're going to see a lot more true black color, even with some of that ambient light in the space. Is there a new or different way to set up my gray screen? The short answer is no. It's going to be same setup process as any of our impact screens. You can get the same finishing styles around the screen. You can include it in any of our enclosure kits, our built-in room kit. It's going to be the exact same setup process as we've always had. How does a gray screen perform in different lighting conditions? Carl's Place started off long ago. Carl started selling projector screens, and through various trial and error with that, he settled on two really popular screen materials, our Flexi White and our Flexi Gray. We found that the Flexi White worked better in a really dark area. I always described it as movie theater dark. And gray screens work better in areas with maybe a little more ambient light to them. So Carl's taken that kind of knowledge and expertise from our previous work with just dedicated projector screens and has applied that to our impact materials. So now we have our white projector screens, which again are going to work great in a dark environment. And then the gray material, which if you've got some more ambient light, maybe you have a window in the space, that sort of thing, then the gray material is going to help to combat some of that ambient light and still get you a good image quality. Does the gray screen improve contrast or black levels? Yes, it will help to improve the contrast on the screen and give you darker blacks. The reasoning behind that is since it is a little bit of a darker material, it's going to be reflecting less light back to you, which helps to get those really nice deep blacks and darker colors and will help improve your contrast. And some of that will also come down to the projector that you're using. Some projectors are able to give you darker blacks on the screen than others. So if you do have a projector that maybe struggles a little bit with getting nice deep blacks on the screen, a gray screen can potentially help improve that. Next question is the gray screen good for both simulation and home theater use? Yes, it will be good for both. It's going to be the same material as our premium impact screen, and our premium has always been kind of the top of the line screen that we offer. It gives the best projection surface. Having a gray screen will give you the best option for a kind of a dual use space if you want to use it for a movie and golf simulator setup. All right, next up, how well does the gray screen handle repeated golf ball impacts? It's going to hold up just as well as our white premium screens. One added benefit that we've noticed on the gray impact screens is since they are darker, they'll tend to hide things like burn marks a little more. So if you're not familiar, a burn mark is going to happen with any impact screen that you have. It happens because the ball flies, it hits the impact screen, and it is making contact and spinning. So the more spin rate you have on the screen, the more friction is caused, and you are going to see a little bit of a darkened spot on the screen. Well, since the gray material is already darker, it helps to hide that dark spot from a burn mark just a little bit better than the white material. But burn marks really are only super noticeable when you have the projector off. When you have the projector on and you have a course up there, or you're watching a movie or something like that on the screen, it really helps to hide those burn marks. Is it washable or easy to clean? It is going to be cleanable. I won't say washable, because when I say washable, I think you throw it into a wash machine, which is not the case. You don't want to put these into a wash machine, but you can clean the screens. We have a video showing the screen cleaning process that we did on a white screen, and it's going to be the same for a gray screen. You just want to make sure you're kind of spot testing maybe a small area and making sure that you're not leaving any residue or stains behind. But then you can just follow that same process and make sure that you put a fan or a hair dryer on a low setting or something like that onto the screen once you're done cleaning it to help dry it off as quickly as possible and reduce the chance of seeing water stains. So what type of space would benefit from a gray screen? That's a great question. What we have heard in the past is people, like in a commercial setting, you can't have a space that's totally dark in a commercial environment because obviously that would be unsafe. You would have people tripping over each other, that sort of thing. So a commercial environment where you're going to have lights on in the space would be great for a gray impact screen. If you're going to be putting something maybe like in your home or in a basement that has windows around and it's kind of tough for you to cover up those windows perfectly, gray impact screen is going to be perfect for that. So all that being said, even if you have a gray screen, if there's too much ambient light in the area, there's just not a heck of a lot you can do. You can get a gray screen, you can get the brightest projector out there, but if there's a lot of ambient light hitting the screen, the image is still going to get washed out. So if possible, you do want to control the ambient light in the space as much as you can to make sure you're getting the best image quality. And if you are able to control that ambient light, maybe get some dimmers or something like that in the space, and you can end up making it nice and dark, white screen is going to be a good option for you. The gray screen is, it's a new product, but I'm going to say it's technically not new just because it's going to be, essentially the same as our traditional white screen, just a little bit darker. I know from personal experience, I've been around Carl's Place long enough to remember when we had our projection screens, and I've seen the difference between white and gray on our projector screens, and it is noticeable in those areas with higher ambient light. I personally have a gray projector screen. I set it up in the backyard, and even before sundown, we can put a movie on the screen and sit around and watch and not have any issue. So with that kind of experience, I'm really excited for the launch of our gray screen material, to be able to offer it to more people who maybe were a little hesitant to have a white screen in a space because they weren't sure how that image was going to turn out. So that was all the questions that we had today for our new gray impact material. If you have any other questions, please let us know in the comments below, and we will see you in the next one.